That news in 5 seconds on the cat. I'll watch the spread here. Q goes away. See how bad they spike it. Yeah, it's not a big. It's supposedly their housing starts, and you're sitting right at the abyss, standing in front of an insane sell off here. Possibly. Here's the monthly dollar CAD. A dollar's going to lose to the CAD. I guess they're not printing as much money. Not a big drama here. Let's go to 1 minute chart. Kind of lackluster. I guess you're under this. I'd buy under that. Of course, it broke out, so, it's 1 minute chart. Bitcoin's not doing too well. Doesn't seem to be able to get past this. Of course, the day's not over. The week's not over. You can still keep going up on the Bitcoins. This has been out for 1 minute. Ran out of charts here. Uh-oh. Looks like a buy. Yeah, that's a buy right there. It's been going down for 2 minutes. Boy, it didn't seem to... the news didn't seem to rock its world too much, so... What else? I could turn off these. I just popped it up real quick. Let's see it. Take a look at the tick chart. I rebuild the tick chart a little bit. Okay, so we're just bobbing around here. Markets are closed for the President's Day, but that's all right. It's more It's more. I don't think the market's stopped for anyone, especially the Bitcoin keeps going no matter what. We still got people trading the hell out of this 1 hour Bitcoin. Look at this right there, be cashing out. So if you bought this collapse, you take these scripts and make them into Bitcoin scripts. You got to add like 2 zeros at least, I think. But the same principles hold true on this chart. If you're going to talk about getting in at extreme lows, so every white dotted line vertically is a day. Here's the place you'd buy more, even though I'd start scaling in here, right? This is the lonely wick. That is it's pretty stupid, right? This is the low of the day. This is the high of the day. In the middle of the day. So that's kind of the rollover between U.S. and European markets, a switch. And if I was long from this, if I put in buy limits here, starting here, martingaling in, and where do you get in? So here's the first order bank. And this is another buy. And that becomes the pivot later on because everybody that bought this supply. And the deepest supply that goes back the longest is right here, and that's where you get trapped underneath. Bitcoin's no different than any other market as far as the psychology of people realizing that it's calmed down. We made it back to here. Maybe we go down some more. But we didn't. We wicked down on this one. So we already had the wick movement. And that's the trade there, I guess, the hammer. I want to just be the hammer there. So if you're going to take out this supply or come into it and gobble it up, you'd have bigger orders down here, and your biggest order is going to be here and beyond. And that's the hard part to plan, is because you have to plan for possibly the Bitcoin coming down to this really deep low. I guess it did. That's why this reaction's so hard, because it encompasses this launching point here where everybody went hog long on this, what they call a measured move, because the price pulse is pretty symmetrical here. Call it what you will, but this is the situation. You got this move up screaming into where people are selling, right? They grab it, but this is like 50%, right? Almost 50% of that move. And that's why people love to project off of this, because if they get in here, they can make projections for a better for a more accurate 50% increase, this would be the node. If you're riding it from here, the only pullback on the Bitcoin 1 hour chart is here. That's it. Up, slam to here, and that's all the sell limits that you've placed up here get triggered for at least whatever, how many pips. The spread's pretty brutal here, as you can see. I'd be getting out right there. If I gobbled up this whole thing right now, I would dump and reload, and I'd come in with buy limits down here. These last longer. Sell limits starting on these tops. There's that Asian. So it did fall a bit in Asia. You know, the Bitcoin's not exactly ripping a world apart. So everything's fluctuating. And if you sold in this kind of trap in Asia where, oh, it's breaking out, everybody get long. Bitcoin's going to $1 million. Uh-oh, what happened? Oops, we did not make it to $1 million. So that's that, right? There's these kind of situations. Or the new sellers are coming in right here. I would say I would be that person. I don't think it's going to be an amazing money-making trade, but it's going to be a high probability trade. So if you had sell limits here and you got in and then you scalped it here, okay, that's it. But for you to buy the low of this day, hold it through Asia, have it pop above the previous day, and take out the high here and exit here for a full engulf trade, that's like it's a whole day. It's 20 hours for it to get paid. So that's the thing. Do you want to wait 20 hours to get paid, or you want it 2 hours, 4 hours? You have to pick how long do you want to be in the market and how much money do you want to risk per day, per week. If you're going to trade risking $500 a week to make $1,000 a week, just as a starting kind of a possible number. I mean, I can imagine that number. That's like you can get your brain around that number. So we get a sell-off here in the dollar CAD. I know it's the tick chart. So those are the kind of numbers I'm looking at, because I can't imagine doing the percent thing, because if the account is X, why would you risk if you're going to do percent risk per month, per hour, what is that even based on? If you even did that, what is that number? Where is it coming in? Per day, per week? So they're backing off this. But it doesn't mean it's not going to keep going up. This is I'm on the dollar yen. Here's dollar CAD kind of fall. It's tempting to go through the floor. It's just breaching into the abyss here. So it's a possible meltdown in the dollar today. You take out the low of last month. There's a daily chart. That could be a bloodbath. Easily here, supposedly everybody's used to 8:30 news coming out, so this will be a wrap-up moment here for the markets. We should see some type of big deal on the half-hour charts. So everybody switch to the half-hour charts. If you're playing at home, hard down half-hour news came out. The problem is that once they start triggering these sells here, Katie bar the door. Like it's an abyss below here. No way around it. Well, at least down to here. So dollar's looks like it's gonna get creamed here maybe in the long run. Because no moving average, no Fibonacci is gonna stop it. But I'd definitely be a heavy buyer in this window, so you can place those orders in there now. Put a month expiration on those, or a week. Maybe this week we dip into that window. It'll be really crazy in that window, I suspect. Just looking at it like, wow, that's a deep old price, you know. So if you can identify an old price, say this lonely wick here, and from here down, you buy it, your first scalp has to be this little wick tip, because it just dips in the window before it goes full retard down. It's pretty brutal, right? So if you're zooming in like this, you see it's a pretty thin slice. It just tags the low of the month there, and then within this whole day, you're going to cash out back up into this, I guess the first trap there, and then your kind of extended target's going to be, if we make it back to here, which we did, pick even this low, right? So the last known low, it comes rocketing to that, and it actually overshoots the runway, coming back into the oldest, or I guess the newest low, this one, tags that, and then the sellers come in. So the confirmation, and everybody is probably aware of this familiar price that keeps showing up, and that's, I guess, what makes this the pivot. Just the bottom becomes a top there, and all the bulls that were going along, I'm sure, hoping for a big rally. Because if you look at this, you can make the argument that the moving averages are kind of pointing up, although this is quite a vicious sell-off. That's a year, right? That's 1 year. So you're taking this trade on the weeklies. Near the end of the year, yeah, I guess your moving average is pointing down on the 8 period. 8 period, 20 period moving average on the weekly. Sure, those trades are going to show up. I think that if you're going to do that, the weekly pivots, and this is a big wide range up here, but this bottom becoming a top here, and this little body of a doji where it paused there. So there's a doji back here. And then completely coming back down off of that. And the buyers that scale into this move here, they cashed out pretty good. So everybody can make money from, delete these objects now, it's getting out of control. Okay, so I was waiting. I don't think the stocks, the futures are trading, I think. But I don't think the cash market's open. So here, look at this, stocks keep going up. It's a melt up. It's kind of frightening, actually. I mean, what's going on here? And I would not be a buyer up here. I can't imagine. Like here, I'm selling above this, actually. Selling the pound pretty heavily right now. Short the pound. I'm all in on the pound. I'm in 40 standard lots in the pound right now. I'm ran out of margin, so I only got $1,600, negative $1,600 of margin available right now. So they just keep driving the pound up today. I'm a seller into this stock market, I guess, also, because they're kind of moving together. NASDAQ out of control. But this is trapped to me. This gap, this is not right. This here is coming in the Sunday night. Really? What is going on? That is not right. New highs. I guess the dollar's crashing. That's all there is. The dividends is the only thing that's left. Or the perception is. And here your scalp on this one. Here's the dollar. Let's come back to life. So on the 1 hour, you would have pulled the trigger here on the market orders. This top becomes a bottom. So here's the supply and demands on the dailies. New high, new lows on the daily. You take this out. You got buy limits here. You never get filled here, but this is a 40 pip window of buying, and then you just cash out here. So if you want to buy that now, that's the 4 hour. You're kind of waiting for it to come back to this top, but it just ricocheted off of that on the 1 hour. So I guess you could have. So if you did short that, you'd have to get out of the way real quick because that ain't gonna last. That's just this short. That's just. I think this dollar yen the there'll be big sellers up here, so we could ride it. Well, this window here. So we haven't gone. You have to update the chart. So we haven't gone in this window yet. And the real exit window for this is, if you want to start selling at the tippy top, wait for that. That's a pretty critical sell window. I think most people would agree. But it's the void up there. It's not necessarily the... When you put lines across the chart, I know people like to do that stuff. Here's a scalp right off of this double bottom 1 hour dollar yen. Pretty simple stuff, right? I don't know if you need a whole ICT course for that. Maybe you do. The Wick mentorship, I think I would make mine. And you become a wiki, right? I just trade the wick. Yeah, you can have the rest of the market. I'm done. I just trade reversals. That's all I do. We don't trade reversals here. Oh, sorry. I'm running this one account here. Pure limits to see what happens. I'm disappointed the size I'm in, but you know what? I'm in about 68K here, I think. It's supposed to be 1,001 leverage here. This is Pike's account. I'm selling the pound here on pure limits. So here on the left side of the screen we have limits. Here's the take profits. I mean, here's the entries. Here's the exits. Just one currency, one broker. I'm just running my scripts on this to show you, like, if you would have traded like a white man, right? This is what it would look like. No market orders. Now, by the end of the week, I should be able to make $1,000. It's a $3,000 account. So I started it with, like it's almost a. I'm not trading. I'm trading with stops. I'm trading pure limits. It's really hard to blow up a $3,000 account. Okay. Now this would be very civilized trading. This is not shoot from the hip. This is not, oh, I got a gut feeling, I'm going to pull the trigger on the market orders, which I did on this account. Like I said, this account's in danger. So I got 8,000. I'm using the whole account right now. It looks like dollar yen's going to pop up here, which is going to crush the pound. But this is kind of a ballpark correlation. That's okay. Crude oil, what's going on here, people? Crude oil, I think it was what really destroyed the dollar here. Oof. No more fracking? Wow, look at the crude down here. This is when crude supposedly went negative. Remember that? Boy, you know, when they it's such a fragile world. All you got to do is like say one thing. Yell. Don't even have to yell fire in a crowded room. Just yell Bic lighter in a outside. You got your mask on. Okay, well, here comes here's the 2 minutes after the bottom of the hour. We should see some kind of activity here. I call bull trap on this Dow Jones. What the fuck's going on here, people? This is crazy. It's crazy town. I've identified the window, the trap window here on the. Wow. These people are going to get so spanked. I think they're horrified. You know, the fact that it's gap opening on a Monday, people that are short in the stock market are just waking up going, dude, one of these, really? That is a problem. That's a big problem. I think is you just can't believe it. And here, I'm sure your RSI says overbought. You can put your indicators on this. I don't know if anybody built an algorithm for this, quite particularly. This is the stock market and the crude oil market. Lordy. Wow. I guess you could say it broke the trend line here on the monthly. Put up a trusty trend line. Man, look at that thing. What in the hell is going on, people? So I think inflation's here. Gold doesn't seem to care, though, what is going on with gold. Gold is just depressed. Here's my weekly analysis on gold, if anybody's interested. So that's all the levels we would buy at, and this is the sell pocket up there. It's kind of boring. I can't show you that for too long without a watermark, so sorry. ICT called me later on after the show and said, dude, you got to watermark that shit. People are going to steal it and trade against you. I'm like, I know. It's like when Michael Jackson told, McCartney told Michael Jackson, you really ought to get the copyrights to the publishing to that. Yeah, really? Wakes up in the morning, all his stuff's gone. I never tell somebody your trade plans. Oh boy, this is just beyond. So there it is. We've locked it in. It's 35 minutes after the hour. Let's see some action. This looks like it's going to drop now. Looks like a sell right there on that 15. Dollar yen's struggling. Get above this line. This is the line of scrimmage. You can do it. The whole team's behind you. Look at that. That was a nice pullback. That thing's off to the races a little bit. I think they're just freaking out. There's a top-down view. Got sell limits up there. Then this is the giant slot. I'm sure that would be the easiest place to sell in your life. Don't you know, no more analysis than that. All the moving averages in the world is not going to prevent this from being the best selling window for a 20 pip selling to that round and then beyond. You can see the whole the future there for the sellers and then for the buyers. I can see my buy orders here. So the obvious one would be pretty far away from the market. Start buying here, where the bulls got their stops. They're long. I'll buy their stops for the scalp there. So I put that in and just walk away. I could put those in for the week. I would think on this account, if I was going to step back and not trade this so hard, margin became available. Look at that. So now, if I had the market order in front of me right now, I'd sell a little bit. And I've got one case. So the reason why the account is so invested in selling this, I wrote a 10K sell with a 20 pip stop to make 40. And I've been punching this like, see, I got 240 available. So I'm going to come into one case now. It's as if I have a $200 account. But I've been punching this thing. 20 to make 40. This will make it's $40. And I must have at least, I'd say 20 standard lots of this going. And we're right in that 20 pip window. And 40 pips is approximately the breakout point before the pound took off and just went ballistic into the 3-year-old low highs now. All right, so here's all my sells. Sell limits up here that I can't afford. I don't think at this point because I sold so much of the market. There's no exit. There's entrance only lines on the screen. But yeah, that goes way back. I mean, this goes back to 3 years ago. So I'd have to go to the weekly chart to find the rooftops. I can't see it on this. Maybe the daily. Certainly the daily. It'd be in here somewhere, but I need a bigger screen. Or I'd have to turn off the auto scroll and then. But it doesn't matter. The thing is that it's. The markets are essentially closed. It's a liquidity issue. They're gapped open. Everything went nuts when crude oil was going where it's at going, you know. And once, so the argument fundamentally would be, well, once they start to realize that they can't shut down the Keystone Pipeline because they got a contract. It's going to go to the courts. And Biden loses in the court. Everybody thinks this stuff gets passed. Like they hear these things on the news. There's a bill to stop this. It's still got to go through the House and this and that. And then it's going to filibustered. And so people like to have a knee-jerk reaction. And of course, the markets, you could say, buy the rumor, sell the fact, all these cliches. But really, in essence, it's like, are you going to take advantage of these price fluctuations without regard? I think the auction theory is the only thing that makes it without regard to that, because it just shows that these are old prices. Everybody's interested in this old price because there's no more sellers left, and once you get down to rock bottom prices, people come in and scoop it up. It's just natural. So if you get real estate down to the point where it's so cheap, well, eventually some guy's going to come in and buy it, and then the price, and then everybody's chasing it after that. But on the way down, it's kind of hard to short real estate. I guess you have to short stocks, but I guess you get out before you get out at the top, right? So when everything's frothy, and so when you heard on the radio, what's it, 10 years ago? I don't know. Keep track of these fucking crises, but running ads on the radio for just jumbo homes and what? And oh yeah, if you got a pulse, if you're not dead, you can get a loan. That's the best. That's the most liquidity ever. And then it was like the burning match, gets to that point where now what? Okay, so we got $700 available, but I'm not going to jump on this because I'm in so heavy. I'll let this thing go. So basically this entry is based on, and I said I was going to sell it, so it was just based on just selling high and selling into really old, just crazy prices. So I'm just trying to cash out to here, basically. 40 pip trade. So here's the weird thing. It just so happens to be that it's at an insane price. It could still keep going up today, though. This is the other danger. This could be a pullback on the 4 hour. It could just keep going up. Like, there's nothing to prevent that. But the time of day it is, and if I'm just going to make it back to where the confirmation traders are going to get in, they're planning on they have buy limits sitting here ready to go long. They're like, oh, this thing's in an uptrend. Are you retarded? And that's their view. And I can see their view. But I'll short it here, ride it back. In fact, at this point, I'll be cashing out. I already know I've got targets in here somewhere, because all the pendings that I laid have more scalp orientated targets, so it's going to start getting out. It should start getting out 20 pips, which is right here. And if we can crush into this window, then it'll just scale out. It'll be over. But that's all just throwing these orders up here, 8-hour tickets that I put up here, and some of these are like 3K and 4K, I think. So the size is at least diversified. And I scroll down. I think I could see all the market orders I put in. I went just nuts on this 10K. So that's what you got to do sometimes. You just got to go, you know what? Every 4 hours it's up. You're just like selling. It's like, fuck these guys. They're full of shit, man. It's fake news. Fake moves. Just the trend traders make you believe, oh, but you're selling what? Yeah. I don't even see it in my small tickets in here. Wait. No, they're all gone. So we didn't retain any. Here's a 3K. So this is picked up a few 3Ks there. Either too far away. So all these sell limits up here, these are ridiculous. These are like about 50 pips or more north. And it's got to be at least 10 standard lots peppered on there on 3K tickets. But just clusters of 3Ks. So this is sell and hold theory here. We hold on to this thing. Here's the daily. So we rocket through this. We are selling into this 50 pip rally, basically. Okay, so $1,000 available margin. I'm just going to let it go because really nothing I can do with that. I don't want to sell now because I know that if we go up one more time, I'll just survive. The account will just survive. Maybe be at $6,000 at that point, but I'll be so short, so heavy that if I wait for it to come back, by the end of the day, we'll be up. We should be at $20,000 around that. That would be my target for this account at this point because I'm just crazy short. I never traded that hard at the market. I just wrote that ticket in the middle of the night really quickly. And I go, you know what? Let's just make this a 10K. Fuck this noise. And I could see them. They were coming up into my little 3Ks. And I thought, let's just, it's a demo account. Let's have some fun. And, even if it's not for some people, I guess this is not a lot of money, $8,000, but make $10,000 in one day. You could claim, oh, look at that. I made $10,000 in one day. Oh, this account's been through the ringer. I've been to 16,000. Now we're 10 grand equity. We could get out now. We're up $200 since we opened the account. So we made 6,000. I took all that money, invested in other bad trades. So without hitting a Cuban tire or even a Cuban after a sorbet, stocks. So no cash markets today. Everything's in a lockdown. Bitcoin's not giving a shit, and gold doesn't care. There's the Bitcoin coming off that pivot, I guess you'd call it. This is certainly the place that people. This is certainly the bottom becoming a top. Right, so the shiitake or whatever they call it, pip on here. But look at the spread there. It's brutal. Brutal. What is it? $100 spread? My God, man. Isn't it? All right, well, we're going to hold this thing for the next, until Europe closes. Europe's not closed. So the other thing is there's nobody on the other side of some of these trades. Look at the dollar coming off the floor now. This is that trade I was doing where I got into the market accidentally. This one I think I bought. I bought that for real. This was the limits. Scalped a little bit there. Then here was the next buy windows to put buy limits in this little nook down here. See? And beyond, of course, but no fill. This is the problem with the limits is you don't always get the fill. We're here. You see you're down and you say, it's down 4 hours. Let's just buy at the market underneath this support and this little vacuum. And then you just buy that and hold that and maybe ride this until, for how long it can go, it's going to come after this big slot. That's the oldest one. Here's the newest one. I guess you could leave out the middle one if it gets too messy. And we've breached this 4 hour top. So this would be the first breakout on the 4 hour, right, for the dollar. And people are going to go long the dollar. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, I think everything reaches a destination at some point. Look at the is that a sell? I should put sell limits in here. I think I accidentally hit that key. I don't think I should be in. This is the this is Hugo's way. I can abuse this account. So here, let me put in some precise optimal trade entries here. It could be a 3K for 6 hours right here. And we'll just, you can see the stop coming in there pretty tight. And all, for the next 8 hours, we'll sell everything above here, the 16 pip stops, and put the orders in between so you can get different prices. You can only do this with a scale fix to really see what's going on here. So these are linear drops, and they're just going to, every pip, right, with different ratios. Here you're going to scalp, you're going to risk 18 and make 12. 8 hours. That is way up there. That is way up there. So that's, we may not get filled on it. If we do, It's a high probability scalp as far as I'm concerned. Now I look at it like this, and if I turn off the take profits, which you should do if you're going to do this entry, because you won't be able to see your entry because these stop levels are going to cover them up. So you have to put this on none. Now, if you want to go super aggressive, you're going to stand right in front of the market here with sell limits like this for 8 hours, basically. Got some scalps in there. We got plenty of free margin now. Back to $11,000. We're holding on for this sell-off in the pound back to the breakout point. And that's the trade. The scalp, I got inverted hammer there. So we're already up. We want to start cashing out below this 4-hour support in this void. And then I'm not going to buy any unless you come down here. I put buy limits down here today. I think there'd be a lot of buyers here tomorrow, possibly. But once that's done, if we can cash, if we can make them 3 hours, 4 hours, we come flying through this floor. That's great. The trade's over, and we're up. And then we can sit back. And that's just me. You don't have to. You could sell here and hold it until Trump is reelected and probably make $1 million on this at the size I'm in here. I mean, come on. So if you hold 40 standard lots and when Trump comes back, right, you're going to be down here. The pound's going to be everybody from Britain will move to the United States, so we'd probably be down here, which is that's the 100 pip on the big blacks. Right, once he gets nominated right here, then you buy the pound, right? Because then they're going to start impeaching him all over again, right? So it's a fundamental view of trading. All right, so that's that. I want to go back to listening to the drama of it all. Just never-ending drama. Got $3,000 available. Yeah, those bulls. With a fixed scale, though, it's hard to navigate. It's hard to go from that big view. So sometimes you gotta reset that, but try to get there before. So that's the half-hour chart as we come searing out of this top. Incredibly. And the buyers. So these nice thing about these. They don't fluctuate. These supply zones and stuff is obvious as hell. Just nice, simple trading. You don't even need a trend line, really, because it's not going to matter. I'm sure there is, like I said, you could have a channel. You could be a channel trader and say, yeah, well, I know this channel's coming to an end. You can see this is the fourth hit, 3 drive. There's some buyers. There's some buyers in here now. Because this little window got breached. So a lot of people probably took some profits here. Can't blame them. They're up off the top of this, like 16 pips. So we could go flat here at 12,000. I could cash out everything I'm in or just let it go. Since it's only the half-hour chart. I'm sorry, this 1-hour chart. So there's some buyers came in right there. See that? Tough to buy up here if you look at the dailies. Things where people get swept up in these algorithms. They're like, yeah, I'm getting buy signals. Dude, he's going to go off a cliff with this thing. So if you look at the 15, try to get a perspective that makes it look scary to buy. You kind of have to wait for them to crush it into here to really get that nice stop hunt. I'm sure there's some stops here. So since I'm short, this would be my target. If we made it to $20,000 by here, just get out, right? If you $1, I would say they say you're not supposed to trade your equity, but if you're looking to make $10,000 on a Monday and it comes into this and you see you're at your $10,000 target, I suppose you could wait for them to breach this, but why not just throw limits into this pocket and then just trade the scalp bounce off of that for whatever, how many pips? Okay, so it looks like the buyers came in here. So like I said, we were 12,000 there. We could have just gone, you know what? Let's get out. How fast can we get out of these tickets? Almost every ticket's a winner too. Right. Well, that's the half-hour view. We could still collapse. When you look at the dailies, you just have to say things like, I don't know if I want to buy here. Like, where do I put my stop? Well, we recommend a stop right here. Our newsletter says you put a stop here if you go long. Okay, I get you. I could see that. That could work. I go tighter stop than that. How about you put a stop in here? Like, why put a stop down there? That's the no nonsense stop. We know there'll be the hell of a bunch of buyers here. This is Asia. We could definitely. My target is Asia on this one. If we come back to this, 4-hour chart's pretty simple. The daily view, 4-hour view. Weekly view is like, are you buying here on the weeklies? Oh boy. I guess you could. I mean, you could make the argument anywhere in this chart that, yeah, you could get a few more pips out of that. Whew. Okay. Let's go back to the 4-hour. Try to be in this trade for 8 hours to 12 hours. Or one day. May take all day to get back to this breakout point here. Melt back down. So, anyways, that's that. That's how that looks.